Today we're bringing the tea with ERC. Today's tea is all about parents' rights and responsibility. Join me as we spill the tea regarding where to start in the process and parents' rights and responsibilities. Advocating for children. Okay, I'm bringing the tea. A lot of parents want to know, where do we actually start? Well, that's a good question. First, we want to start by identifying any issues or problems that we're going to have, or just questions or concerns that we possibly might have with our children's education system. So we're going to go through six different steps. First step is you want to reach out to your child's teacher. That person, he or she, has the most point of contact with your child, so definitely that's something you would like to do. Check with the teacher via email, Canvas, or whatever way that you and the teacher have agreed to reach out and ask any questions or concerns. The second step in the process, if you're not getting answers and you still have questions, or just, you just want to know, be with your child's case manager, your ESC or Exceptional Student Educational Coordinator, your therapist, or student services. These are all, member of the student services team at your child's school. You can check with your teacher about this. You can check with your website to find information. Go on in. Hopefully at this time you do have some type of rapport with the front office, or, the teacher, that you can go and ask these people. The next step we want to talk about reaching out to the assistant principal. Now, at this point, if you're reaching out to the assistant principal, there's definitely a grave concern. Any step in this process, you make sure that you do want to try to reach every level to make sure that anyone, no one's forgotten about, no one's overlooked, and that you've thoroughly done your research to see, what's really going on. At this point, the assistant principal still not getting any answers or anything, you definitely want to reach out to the principal. Fourth step. So by this time, the principal, I don't know if you know, is generally the head administrator in the building. Sometimes rare instances that the principals are changing guard, you don't really have a principal or someone. There should be someone in the building that is responsible for maintaining a level of being in some type of leadership position. Is going to be considered the head administration in the building. If you still haven't gotten any calls, before, I want to pause here, and I'm always going to come back with you and say, along the way, you should be documenting. What I mean by documenting, you should be taking notes. You should keep a running log of the type of communication you've been keeping, the title, if you know the name of the person, the time that you called. You should expect 48 to 36 hours. So, you say Monday, you leave a message or whatever, you really should expect to hear from someone by Wednesday or Thursday. If it takes any longer than this and there's no holidays or anything, then you definitely want to reiterate and reach out and say, hey, I've talked to the teacher, I've talked to a member of the student services team, I've spoken with the assistant principal, and now I've also reached out to the principal, and still the issue is not being resolved or just not even talked about. Like, there's nothing being done. Don't wait too long before you circle back. At this point, if you haven't gotten any response, then you're going to go ahead and contact the ESC regional supervisor or the ESC program supervisor. Now, at this stage of the process, you are going outside of the building. I do want to caution parents at this stage, when you go outside of the building, you definitely want to make sure you are documenting. You want to find out what region or area that your child's school is in. You can look this up by the actual district website, the school website. You make a phone call and find out, so that you're not just telling your story and your concern over and over. You want to make sure you're talking to the right people who are able to really help you. It's one of the frustrations that I ran into is I was reaching out, but I wasn't really reaching out initially to the correct people. So yes, I was reaching out, I was documenting, but it just levels the playing field and you get more direct contact. You're liable to get more quicker turnaround. But that's still something you need to be doing. You still need to be documenting. You need to, kind of have a trail of that you are diligently trying to do all that you can inside of the building. You definitely want to make sure we're doing that. You're at this point and you still haven't resolved the issue or anything. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to contact your region superintendent. At this point, you should already know what region you're in. You also want to make sure that you are documenting if there's a follow-up, whether it's a phone call, email, no follow-up. You also want to make sure you're documenting the follow-up. Sometimes there is follow-up, but the follow-up isn't really answering the question or concern. It really isn't getting to the core of the matter. You may feel like you're getting the runaround, and that's okay. It's not okay that you're getting the runaround, but it is okay for you to still keep going up the ladder until you get an answer that you want. And sometimes the answer that you seek, it may not be something that you desire. I always tell my parents, keep pushing. You have to push and advocate for your child. Sometimes you can't explain the reasoning. Right now, you know that your child, for whatever reason, is having a concern, whether it be bullying, something's going on with their education. He or she is not meeting their grade level goals. Maybe you were at parent-teacher conference and your child is in the first grade and they're still reading at a kindergarten level. The teacher is saying they're doing everything that they can. You know what you're doing at home, and your child isn't just reaching those benchmarks. Those things you cannot afford to wait. Don't let them tell you, oh, they'll grow out of it. No. Reading and basic math skills are foundational. You really need to keep pushing and go through. So definitely want to make sure that we follow up. We're documenting along the way, including dates, who or what is being said. You want to make sure that you're documenting what time of day, and you want to stick to the issues and facts. Want to keep our feelings out of it. And I know that's very difficult. I'm a parent. I've been on both sides of the desk of being maybe the therapist or the teacher as well as the parent, being a person with a disability myself. So I know that when I tell you to keep our emotions out of it, it seems easier to do, but it costs me practice. Practice in the mirror. Practice your phone call before you're ready to reach out to these people. Do some research of your own. And it's not about, sounding a certain way. It's just about you want to come across as someone who really has a real concern. The fact that you have a concern, you also have a right as a parent. You have a right to have those concerns and those issues addressed. Nothing's too small, nothing's too big. If it concerns your child and no one in the building is coming forth and really getting to the bottom of some disconnects or some concerns and issues that you have, parents, you have a responsibility as well as a right to your child to find out. That leads me to believe to our next session when I say we're going to talk about parents' rights and responsibilities. Now, you may ask yourself, why do I need to know about parents' rights and responsibilities? Number one, we're going to define what a right is. A right is something that is guaranteed, something that is assumed. You have rights. They cannot be taken away from you. They cannot be altered. You were born with these rights. As a parent, you have certain rights that they just are. Don't let the principals, the assistant principals, the teachers, anyone in that building, anyone outside of that building, try to convince you that you don't have a right to answers to the questions or concerns about your child. You do. Another thing, say you get to the bottom of it and your child is just not thriving, and then we've decided that, hey, there is a problem. Let's just take a small thing, even though it's not small. We're going to take reading, for example. Your child is just not reading. You know something is going on. The answers that you're getting, they just don't make sense. You have a right to request. Once again, I'm going to pause here and I'm going to tell you, did you document? Documentation is key. You always want to make sure at every step, document, write down, keep a running log of that, dates, times, who you talk to make sure you know who you talked to and what was being said. I'm going to pause right now. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more into detail about parents' rights, and responsibility in the school system. Thank you.